I still remember the exact second the air in our kitchen turned to glass and shattered inside my chest. Sarah stood by the sink, phone glowing against her cheek, laughing in that low, throaty way she used to save for me alone. "Yeah, girls' night," she told whoever was on the line. "But if I get bored I might just find two guys half your age tonight." She spun toward me, eyes sparkling with mischief, and winked like it was our private joke. I forced a grin, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes, and said, "Have fun, babe." She kissed my cheek. Quick, dry, already halfway out the door. And the scent of her perfume lingered like a ghost that knew every secret I didn't. That was the hook, the barb that caught and wouldn't let go. I'd spent 15 years believing her laughter was mine, that the tiny scar on her left knee from a college hiking trip was the most intimate map I'd ever need. We'd built a life on small rituals. Sunday pancakes shaped like dinosaurs for the kids, her humming off-key while folding laundry, the way she'd trace circles on my back when insomnia clawed at me. I trusted the weight of her head on my shoulder the same way I trusted gravity. So why did that wink feel like a door slamming? Suspicion isn't a switch. It's a slow leak. I told myself it was nothing, just Sarah being Sarah, flirty, fearless, the girl who once danced on a bar in Prague because the music demanded it. But the words "half your age" kept ricocheting inside my skull. I poured a drink I didn't taste, stared at the family photos lining the hallway, and felt the first cold drip of doubt. Our daughter's gap-toothed grin in last year's Christmas card looked suddenly fragile, like it could dissolve if I blinked too hard. By midnight the house was too quiet. The kids were at my sister's, the dog asleep on Sarah's side of the bed. I opened her laptop to check the Netflix queue, stupid excuse, and saw the browser still warm. A string of messages on an app one didn't recognize. My pulse hammered so loud I barely heard the click of the trackpad. The chat was with someone named Jay. No last name, no face, just a string of fire emojis and plans for a rooftop bar downtown. "Wear the red dress," he'd written. "The one that makes husbands regret staying home." Sarah's reply. 3 eggplant emojis and a winking kiss. I read it 3 times, waiting for the words to rearrange themselves into something harmless. They didn't. My hands shook so badly the screen blurred. I scrolled up, weeks of it. Late-night voice notes I'd slept through. Photos of her in lingerie I'd never seen. Promises that turned my stomach. The worst part wasn't the sex. It was the tenderness. Jay called her sunshine. She called him trouble. They planned a weekend in Asheville like teenagers sneaking out, and every detail was a blade. The Airbnb with the clawfoot tub. The record store where they'd buy vinyl to play while they. I closed the laptop before I threw it. The room spun. I wanted to scream, to drive downtown and drag her out of whatever bar she was in. But the kids' drawings taped to the fridge stopped me. Crayon sons and stick figure families. I couldn't torch their world tonight. Instead I sat on the cold tile floor and cried without sound, the way you do when you're afraid the neighbors will hear. Morning came bruised and gray. Sarah slipped in at 6, heels dangling from her fingers, hair tousled in that just rolled out of someone else's bed way. She startled when she saw me at the kitchen table, coffee untouched. "You're up early," she said, voice too bright. I studied her face, the faint smear of mascara, the swollen lips, and felt something inside me calcify. "Rough night?" I asked. She laughed, but it cracked. "Just dancing. Lost track of time." She reached for me, but I stepped back. The distance between us was suddenly a canyon. I didn't confront her then. I needed proof that wasn't digital, something I could hold. So I did the thing I swore I'd never do. I followed her. Not dramatically, no trench coat or binoculars. I just knew her schedule. Thursday afternoon she told me she had yoga. I knew the studio closed early. I parked across the street from the boutique hotel on 5th and waited, heart jackhammering against my ribs. At 2:17 she appeared, arm linked with a guy who looked barely 30, all sharp jaw and expensive sneakers. They kissed in the doorway like they'd done it 100 times. I took a photo with shaking hands, then another, then drove home before I vomited in the street. The next week was a slow-motion car crash. I cooked dinners I couldn't eat, smiled at parent-teacher conferences, tucked the kids in while Sarah worked late. Every night I added to my folder of evidence. Receipts, screenshots, the hotel key card I found in her coat pocket. I wasn't proud of it, but pride was a luxury I'd lost the day she chose trouble over us. I kept thinking of the vows we'd written ourselves. No script, just promises under a maple tree. I'd said. I will choose you every day, even the days I don't like you. She'd cried. Now I wondered if she'd been crying for someone else even then. I planned the reveal like a surgeon plans a cut. Precise, necessary, irreversible. I booked the private room at Vincenzo's, our anniversary spot, told her I wanted to reconnect. She dressed up, the red dress of course, nervous excitement in her eyes. I let her think I was clueless. When the waiter poured our wine, I slid the folder across the table. Open it, I said. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. Her fingers hesitated, then flipped the cover. Photos first. Her and Jay outside the hotel, time-stamped. Then the messages, printed in stark black and white. Her face drained of color so fast I thought she'd pass out. Matt, she started, but I raised a hand. Read the last page. It was the divorce petition already signed by me, custody arrangement fair to the day. I'd spoken to a lawyer the morning after the hotel stakeout. I wasn't bluffing. She looked up, eyes glassy, lips trembling. I can explain. But the words died when she saw my face. Not anger, not anymore. Just exhaustion carved down to the bone. You already did, I said. Every text, every lie. You explained for months. The restaurant noise faded until it was just us and the wreckage. She reached for my hand. I let her hold air. I told her about the kids, how I'd shield them from the worst, how we'd sell the house and split the proceeds. I spoke calmly like I was reading a grocery list, because if I let emotion in I'd drown. She cried silently, tears cutting tracks through her makeup. I love you, she whispered. I got scared. Midlife, the kids growing up, feeling invisible. I cut her off. Don't make this about my failures. You chose. We sat in that private room until the staff hovered awkwardly. She asked if we could try counseling. I said the trust was a house burned to ash, and I wasn't an architect anymore. When we stood to leave, she clung to my sleeve. What happens now? I looked at her, really looked, and saw the girl I'd met at 22, terrified of thunderstorms, laughing at my terrible puns. She was still in there, but so was the stranger who'd gutted me. Now, I said, you live with the choices you made. And I learned how to breathe again. I walked out alone. The night air hit like cold water, shocking but clean. Behind me, Sarah's sobs echoed off brick walls, but I didn't turn back. Some doors once closed stay closed. And the hardest truth I carry now is this. Love isn't enough to keep someone from walking away. It's only enough to make the leaving hurt forever.